As with any role of leadership, corruption takes place when one focuses on the title instead of the role of service that one has been called to. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10 Minute Torah, day number 4, Torah portion Tzav. We're focusing today on the Levitical priesthood. Let's read from chapter number 8, beginning with verse number 1. Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments, and the anointing oil, and the bull of the sin offering, and the 2 rams, and the basket of unleavened bread, and assemble all the congregation at the door of the tent of appointment. And then Yah gives commandment as to how to go through the ceremony of dressing Aaron and his sons and presenting the particular offerings that are necessary for his inauguration, the korbanot. And then it says in verse number 28, Moshe then took them from their hands and burned them on the slaughter place on the ascending offering. They were ordinations for a sweet fragrance. It was an offering by fire to Yahweh. And so Yah, it would seem, accepted everything that was offered. He gave the command that Aaron and his sons were to stay at the tabernacle for 8 days, and that they were to remain there, and they were to be in this process of continual ordination. Now, Yah is very particular when it comes to those that serve him. He is, again, he's very particular. He wants a certain means of conduct and lifestyle and observance. I remember going through several occasions where hands were laid upon me and my wife Laura, oil being poured on our head at times, or at least on my head. And I remember in 2003 at Sukkot being quite taken aback when my mentor, especially at that time, had me to come up front, take off my right shoe and sock. My wife stood behind me weeping and put my tallit over me. He anointed my right ear, my right thumb, my right great toe, and ordained me. I needed that. I needed that affirmation. I had only been out of the church system for a year at that point. So I was looking for stability, for security, for understanding as to who I was and what role it was that I was supposed to be playing. Yah is particular. He wants things done a certain way. Now, to those that he has called and separated and instituted and ordained and inaugurated into his service, we should not discount them. I'm not talking about myself here. I'm talking about the Levitical priesthood. There is large-scale failure, I have found, systematically entrenched in a denominational style mindset. And many of us have come out of that or have been a part of that. And I'm not here to throw a stone at all. No stones in my hand here. But there is a systematic understanding, and it's something that's been handed down doctrinally and theologically for generations. So I blame no one in current standing here. It's just what has been taught and people have been trained to understand, that the Levitical priesthood was a failure. Actually, some would go so far as to say it was designed intentionally to be a failure, that the Torah was given intentionally to fail, to prove to Israel you can't be redeemed by it. So we are taught that the Levitical priesthood has not only been a failure, but it has been done away with. I pause. You know, was David told to go up against a giant to be shown you can't do that? He's going to kill you. Was Moshe called at the burning bush to lead Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim only to show him that it can't be done? It just doesn't make any sense. Yah doesn't do that. The Torah was never given to anyone for the purpose of redeeming them, but rather to reveal the Redeemer, to reveal our need of redemption. The Levitical priesthood was given to succeed. And while there was writings in Malachi chapter number 1, and oftentimes through the prophets where the priesthood, the Levitical priesthood, had run amok, fallen off of a place of right understanding, and rightly endured the criticism of Yahweh's prophetic word against them, calling them back to a place of righteousness. And yes, in Yeshua's day, there were some, especially among the priesthood, that were given to pride and to arrogance and to religious a religious hierarchy, a promotion of self at the expense of the people. There were some gross errors taking place. But it doesn't mean that every Levitical priest throughout history has been a dismal failure. In fact, as we look at Aaron and his sons, they are mikvahed. They are inaugurated with blood offerings. They are dressed in very particular, set-apart garments. They are anointed with oil. And they go and they present these offerings the very first day that Aaron functions solely in the role as high priest. The glory of Elohim falls upon the place. Now, there were some error in his sons, and they suffered the consequences. Man always has the propensity to either succeed greatly in Yah's presence and give due worth and worship and acknowledgement of who Yah is and do it correctly and enjoy the overwhelming presence of the Most High and be changed but thereby, and function in a right and a righteous role. Man has also got it grossly wrong. For us to look back at the Levitical priesthood and point our finger and say, the Father got so tired of those guys that he just wiped them out and he's replaced them with the priesthood of the believer in the church today. That's simply not good doctrine. Doesn't hold water. That bucket's got too many holes. Because there were men that functioned correctly and righteously, and Yah used them, and they prophesied, and they blessed the people, and they brought the Yom Kippur offerings in every year, and Yah accepted that, and it was allowing that to be atonement for Israel. Yah did accept their offerings. In the future, the sons of Zadok, the priest, are going to serve Messiah Yeshua in his temple. In Malachi chapter number 3, we read how that there is a day that is coming where the Levitical priests are going to offer up offerings in righteousness, and the Father is going to receive them. It's going to take some purging. It's going to take washing. It's going to take cleansing. It's going to take a work of the Ruach HaKodesh, but they're going to do it. Whether you and I are willing to accept it in the ranks of our theological understandings or not, there is a level of worship that the Father receives from blood and fat on the altar and from incense on burning coals in his presence, and from oil and wicks burning in a menorah, and from fresh baked bread laid on the table of showbread, and from priests who walk by a laver and wash their hands and their feet. There is a glory that is attached to that. There is an overwhelming presence that will put you on your face in the ranks of that. And in that day, it's going to happen again. And people are going to come from the earth and they're going to come bringing their offerings. Ezekiel describes how that they're going to worship and celebrate at this altar. And the fat's going to burn, and the smoke's going to go up, and Yah's going to be worshiped. And Yeshua is going to be revealed in his revelation through all of that process. Yah, bring the day to pass that Yahweh Elohim may be worshipped and his Son revealed. We'll finalize these thoughts again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.